Today at Let's Talk Marketplace, we talked
about our move from bi-weekly to weekly episodes and German and English alternating, for whom is the Polish marketplace Allegro, and a special offer for your onboarding.
why Otto Marketplace was too successful and what happened to the fossil marketplace Catchin.
And together with our guest Henning Hesen from our partner Marketsupply, we talk about affairs, marriage and divorce in the marketplace service provider business. Have fun listening.
Let's Talk Marketplace.
The Marketplace podcast with Ingrid and Valerie Dichtel.
Hello and welcome. Let's Talk Marketplace is back. And as promised, from now on, you can listen to us weekly. Valerie, are we really sure about this?
Quite sure, I would say. Of course, it's a lot of work to push a bi-weekly podcast to a weekly production. But you know what? Most of my favorite podcasts broadcast weekly. And if they can do it, so can we. We just need to go into the flow and our process is ready. Team super spontaneous also need sometimes some structure, I would say. And you know what? My purpose was always like, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And the two of us, we have even more plans. So this is just the beginning. And due to a weekly production, we can now alternate between English and German episodes. So we are basically doing two bi-weekly marketplace podcasts rolled in one in English and one in German. I love it.
Okay, right. Let's love it then. And let's start into our weekly adventure full of confidence, I guess. So who needs sleep anyway? Totally overrated. So, right, let's get this party started. What are we talking about today, Valerie?
Today, we're going to look at the business model of a very particular kind of service provider in the marketplace business, and that is marketplace as a service. We will talk about what this service entails exactly, which brands could benefit from working with a marketplace service provider, how such a cooperation actually plays out,
and of
if
course,
it's profitable,
how much the service costs.
Yeah.
And how to get rid of your marketplace as a service provider in the cleanest way possible, hopefully.
I love your approach, Ingrid. You're already talking about divorce before even getting married.
Yeah, well, I like to be prepared. That's all, girl, gotta have a plan.
Aye. Well, then I'm happy that we have a guest who will be able to answer all your questions about both marriage and divorce through marketplace service as a service provider. I call them also sometimes full service partner. So welcome Henning Hesen, co-founder at Marketsupply. Marketsupply,
Good
I'm
morning.
sorry.
Yes, good morning. So good harmony here already.
Always,
Like you know us, huh?
Love it. Yes, that's nice. We could chat about everything, right?
We do actually, right? It's great that you're here, Henning. Although this is a bit of a reverse situation for us. Henning is also Ingrid's and my business coach for Marketplace Universe. So normally you are the one asking us hard questions. This time we turn tables. And just as you did at our coaching, let's start with some introduction. So I have 3 sentences for you, Henning, and I would like to have short answers about it. Who are you, Henning?
I'm imagining my LinkedIn profile at the moment. I'm an entrepreneur in e-commerce for the last 15 years. I founded different companies, sold different companies, and at this point, I'm going to talk about a company that I co-founded in 2016. It's Marketsupply, where we help brands with their marketplaces business.
And Henning, what do you do best? Where are you really good in?
I think that's why I'm a business coach, holding people a mirror in front of their face. It's awkward. It's often awkward, but I think I was born to do that. I think I was born to do that.
I don't feel this at all. No. Why did you co-found Marketsupply?
I co-founded Marketsupply. The idea I already had in 2012 when we at Sales Supply, when we went to companies that want to go international and they didn't want to pay the service that we had at Sales Supply, paying for customer service, paying for logistics, paying for anything, and that would have cost them 10% at the time. So it was a service provider doing anything international for them, costing 10%. And then a lot of people say no. And then I rhetorically said, "Hey, can I buy at your place. Can I buy shoes or whatever? And they said, yes, of course. So they said, how much discount do I get? And they said 30, 40%. So I said, so you're giving 30% away. So I would have charged you. But people like to sell you stuff with more discount than they are likely to get an invoice with less costs. And that was an idea that I thought, okay, so if I charge people 20% or 30% for an internationalization project, and they sending me an invoice, that would work. Other way around, not if I would charge them 30%. So it's a mind game, but that was the starting idea. And then the marketplaces came up, of course, in 2012, 13, 14 with Amazon. And then it became more complex because then it was not only Amazon, then it was in Holland, of course, bol.com, where I was born. And then you had all those top tier marketplaces, different ones than Amazon. And it became really complex. And then the idea formed into what it is today, serving something like 50 plus marketplaces. We are tapping into the Miracle Network at the moment. They have 400 marketplaces, but we have the niche of DIY.
Okay, interesting. We're going to talk more about this whole business concept later on in the episode. Just to get a bit of a grip on Marketsupply, who are your main competitors?
Well, I think there are several ones. I think in the DIY sector we have none because no one is specialized on DIY. But you have, of course, Hey Connect, which is one of the most famous ones with Marcel Brindöpke, Figo went in there. Then you have On Quality, Stefan Wenzel, Michael vom Sondern, they were there. Also fashion related, Hey Connect, also fashion related through their auto connection. Then you have Gute Marken. Then you have, I think, Global Fortune is doing some stuff. Then you have Limal, which is an Amazon specialist. And either you have fashion specialists, and they do a lot of Zalando and Otto and About You. And then on the other side, you have, I think, you have real Amazon specialists. So we have a niche in the middle where we say we are not the super specialist on Amazon, but we are specialized in doing 50 to 60 or end of the year 100 marketplaces.
And I'm really excited to talk about this today, Henning, because this is also one of the topics I consult sometimes brands, especially fashion brands, like whom shall I choose, what shall I choose, and why? And looking forward to talk with you about that topic. Yeah.
Definitely. Right. So, but before we do that, I guess we should have a quick look at the latest news of last week, because I actually thought that if we're going weekly, then the newsflash would be shorter, but no such luck. Newsflash. The biggest news from last week came from Otto Group, because the German-based e-commerce player Otto has provided us with several bombshells, I would say. First, they released their figures for 2023, in which the group's turnover has shrunk by 9% to around about 11 billion euro. And the German dependency is also down by 9% to 6.6 billion euro. And in the same report, you could read that the marketplace business had done pretty well last year, growing significantly, it said. There were no true numbers, but obviously a growth. And the GMV could be estimated to around 2 billion euros at the moment. So the marketplace, led by ex-Amazonian Bodo Kipper, is doing pretty well, obviously. Much better, in fact, than Otto's wholesale business. And apparently it did a little bit too well, because last week Otto fired Kipper over differing views on the strategic direction of Otto.de, it said. So, can a marketplace do too well?
Or can an old-fashioned company still work like it used to? I mean, I know how ex-Amazonian thinks, as I'm as I'm also an ex-Amazonian, and I know how they think, work, and act. And they always think backwards from the customer. So, I mean, I don't know what happened there, but I also don't know if that was such a great move, Otto.
Me neither. Yeah, I looked at that and I was quite astonished. There's actually going on a pretty interesting discussion on this on one of the LinkedIn posts by Jochen Krisch at the moment. He dove into the figures a little deeper and also asked the question, so what is going on there? Like, what's the strategy? Because it seems Otto is neither here nor there with the marketplace, because on the one hand, they are still opening new categories all the time. I just read in a post from MoveSell that they are opening new categories starting around about April. On the other hand, they have increased their fees for the marketplace traders in many categories twice last year, and quite significantly in some cases. So what are they going to do with this marketplace? It seems there is no true strategy.
Yeah, and they're still also working for some years now on like opening the marketplace business for companies outside of Germany, because it was like still always like, hey, you need a German VAT ID and a German fulfillment center to ship to the auto market customers and customers. And I mean, I had even clients from Austria and they were not able to ship it. I was like, so yeah.
Yeah, I would have wished for better news there. Right. Comparably better news actually came from eBay. The marketplace has not been doing well in the last years, but it seems, if you're looking for, the light ahead on somewhere on the horizon, it seems that the shrinking has stopped over the last year. So the marketplace stagnated in 2023, globally, of course, because eBay doesn't disclose figures for their country departments separately. But the decline of the GMV was halted, the loss of customers was halted, and they are very tentatively looking for a growth around about the third quarter of this year. So, well, better than Otto. Is that something?
At least.
At least, right, okay. Right, what else do we have? Thrasio has finally bankrupt, the Amazon aggregator, and another aggregator, Perch, has been taken over by Razer. So maybe that's something for you, Henning. Is the aggregator model dead?
I think the money spending is dead. I think that was it.
Straight up,
how many billions were in there? And I think one big problem is, a trivial problem, is that the interest rates are so high that when you maybe paid $1 million a year interest, you're now paying $4 million, and then that whole business model is wrecked. So I don't think that it didn't work out, because consolidation always makes sense. And I mean, how complicated is it? These are all just sellers and FBA sellers. So how complicated is it? But I think but I don't know what the problem is there. But maybe they are overcomplicating things. And I think interest rates of buying all those companies could be a big problem. I don't think that there's a problem in the business model.
Interesting. Okay. Right. Something that you stumbled across, Valerie. The Fossil marketplace, Katchen, marketplace for jewelry, has obviously secretly been taken offline. There's no official information of this, but I think you got confirmation from inside the company, didn't you?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm a bit sad about it, because I was like preparing for a new marketplace quadrant for jewelry and watches, and I was like, oh, there's one marketplace just for this niche. I mean, it's not and just for this category. But then I had a look, and I was like, when I was like looking for and I was like, there's a 404 on this page, and I was like, well, and then there was like, it's offline. I was like, okay, another one. Right now in the quadrants, I'm updating them. I really just have to delete logos, ciao, ciao, ciao. A bit sad, especially in fashion and sports. Yeah.
Talking about fashion marketplaces, you also got some news from Yoox, I think.
Yeah, Yoox is actually tightening some screws on brand onboarding, and it's becoming much more restrictive towards brands, and they are much more selective right now. Yeah, than in the past.
They and everybody else at the moment.
No. Brand approval getting is really easy these days, and KYC processes are also not boring at all. I mean, there's a lot to do.
Didn't we sort of agree we wouldn't do sarcasm anymore?
Yeah, sorry.
Right. Okay, right, because before this gets too dark, these were all my news for today. So let's start talking about Marketplace as a Service. But before that, just a very quick word on our partner and sponsor, Allegro.
Indeed, Ingrid. In episode 51, our guest was Mateusz, Group Director International Sellers and Fulfillment Sales at Allegro, the biggest online marketplace in Poland. And he told us a lot about how Allegro is growing, how they want to expand into Eastern European countries, and why they are looking for international sellers for their platform. But who would benefit from selling there, Ingrid?
Well, according to Mateusz, Allegro is especially interesting for retailers looking for fresh dynamic markets, but also for brands aiming for direct touch points with customers in Poland and also in Eastern Europe, because Allegro is not only active in Poland, but in 6 other Eastern European countries. And of course, it's interesting to competitors who can go with a sharp pricing, and to those that have fast delivery capabilities to Eastern Europe, because the Polish customers sort of expect you to get their delivery in 48 hours or less. And also for those companies who are able to provide Polish content and very good customer support in both Polish and English.
Well, actually, that sounds like a marketplace would take some work, especially considering the language barrier in like fulfillment. Do they offer some services or what's going on there?
Yeah, of course. Well, Allegro has been the main e-commerce player in Poland for the last 20 years. And because of that, there's a whole landscape of tools and service providers that has evolved around the marketplace. So it's not that difficult to find a partner who can help you with localization or local customer support and stuff like that. And additionally, Allegro itself is also working quite hard on their own seller tools and, of course, on their own fulfillment service that you can use.
Okay, so there is no excuse anymore. If you want to try out Allegro, we have a very special offer for our listeners. If you set up your account using the link in the show notes of this episode, and we do this also on LinkedIn, you get 100% discount for your professional subscription, list your products for free in most categories, receive up to 100% discount on sales commissions. So there is no better time to try out Allegro but now.
Righto. So this was our quick info on our partner Allegro. So do let us know if that marketplace works out for you if you're trying it out, because we are very curious. But now it's high time to get back to our to today's partner, Marketsupply, and to the topic at hand, and that is Marketplace as a Service. And at this point, I will hand the reins over to you, Valerie, because you're much deeper into this than I am. So tell me and our listeners, what does Marketplace as a Service actually mean for those who don't know?
Topic of the week. Okay, so Marketplace as a service provider promises to take over the entire marketplace business for a brand. This means that the brand delivers its goods to the service provider as in a wholesale supply contract, and the service provider in turn lists the goods on the marketplace on behalf of the brand. So there are still some open questions on that. In contrast to a traditional manufacturer-retailer relationship, however, the brand does not relinquish pricing authority and control over brand's presentation to the service provider. Instead, the service provider behaves more like a vendor partner towards the brand, but like a seller towards the marketplaces. This means the service provider sets the prices for the products on the marketplaces in consultation with the brand, but then takes care of all the coordination and logistics hassle on the marketplace, which is such a headache for many brands. So, Henning, do you have anything to add?
There are 1,000 things to add, but that would be too salesy. But no. It's just, I think the last one that you said, it's how we profile ourselves. It's the vendor business, because that's what a lot of brands are looking for a sort of a vendor. But they want to keep 100% control. And the difference here between doing something like this with a reseller is that the reseller is in control of the price. But if you work with a marketplace as a service provider, you get a platform contract, and then you can control and dominate the price, which is the most interesting thing. So you don't have to do all the things operationally, but you control the price and what you sell where, which is, I think, the interesting thing here for a lot of brands.
Yeah, I see many advantages here. So Henning, when we start, like for example, when I would work with Marketsupply, as I am a brand, and we would sell our products on Otto, who would like stay there as what would be the name of the seller? Is it like, let's say I am the brand, I don't know, brand name, I don't know, egal. But let's say you are selling our company products. What is sold there? Who's the seller?
The seller is in the marketplace as a service concept. It's always the account of the seller or of the of the marketplace as a marketplace as a service. So it's our account, and it's Hey Connect account. So we're not the difference here is. The difference here, if you work with an agency like MoveSell or Amsell or how they all called, they manage your account. Let's say Marco Polo, or let's say Husqvarna, or let's say Schellenberg, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. So either you do it yourself and you have an agency. They optimize your content and whatever they do, and then pictures and everything, and that's your account as the brand. Well, if you work with a company like us, with the marketplaces as a service, which company you ever work with, they sell it under their own account. So our risk, and maybe that's an interesting thing because that's a question that I often get. The risk is ours. The risk that won't be delivered, or that we get an A to Z guarantee file or whatever, it's ours. So we have to do all that stuff. Yes.
And do you also buy the products?
There was a word in English. It was a split second. I don't know what they call it, but no, we don't buy the product, because people ask me that also. If we would buy the product in front of having them sold, then I would be in control of the price.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, a normal way. If someone says to me, okay, buy a pallet of anything, but you have to do UVP at the retail price.
The recommended retail price.
I would say no way. If you want me to pay for the products, I'm going to be in control of the price.
Yeah, and, that's in a wholesale business, right? So
that's in a wholesale business. Yeah. So we're buying the stuff when we sold it.
What I also like is the comparison of we do everything by ourselves. I call it the internal onboarding way, and then there's I also call it the external onboarding way. It's like the external onboarding way is for me I have a partner who's doing the who's doing everything for me. So for example, I as a brand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm a brand and working with you, I will send my content data over, my product images. Maybe you do support there. I will send you my stock. So you are, the stock is at your place. And then you are supporting me in bringing the products online in the right way, on the right marketplace, with the best time to online. And as soon as the customer buys the product, the order goes back to your software, and then you will send out the product to the customer. And if the customer returns it, it also goes through you. And the good thing with the brand is the brand has just one invoice they get from, right? So it's more like one key count, I would say.
Exactly.
Not like 5 contracts with 5 different marketplaces and then logistic partners and so on. And I don't know, 4 APIs because you have to connect to the logistics and to the middleware and to taxes and so ever. It's everything done by you, right?
Exactly. So it's make or buy, right? It's either you do marketplaces yourself or you don't do it yourself. And we have a lot of clients that do Amazon themselves because they have a team, they're Amazon specialists, and then they try to do something on Bull, on Cdiscount or whatever. So we don't have, in our case, we don't have Zalando or About You. So we don't.
No, it doesn't make sense for you. Yeah.
No. So, but then they then you come with the complexity that you have a Fnac or Hornbach or Leroy Merlin, which we have now. We will have B&Q, which is also a DIY store, Baumarkt in the UK. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, am I going to do this stuff all by myself? Am I going to grow the team or not? And then something Stefan Wenzel also said more often is how big am I as a company that I can afford a complete team for all that stuff? I mean, I can imagine Amazon, but even I talked to a company last week at Best IT, Angrillen. They are like 50, 60 people. And they had 2 people managing Amazon, and one guy was hired by another company for €1,000 more, and the other girl is pregnant. So that's your marketplaces team. So the question is here: how big am I, and can I afford a team? And the second thing would be then, so what if the team is gone? Yeah. So I think that there are in some use cases, there are a lot of companies that are too small to do it all by themselves. And the bias here is that everyone's talking about you have to do it yourself and you don't want to outsource it, you want to control it. Manufacturers didn't control the way that it was sold for thousands of years. Why should it be? Why should it be? Why should it be now? So if you are maybe 60 people, 100 people, 150 people. There are ways. I don't want to sell it here, but having 2 marketplace managers. No, but having 2 marketplaces managers that are costing you 100 to 120K a year, you have to do a lot of revenue on those marketplaces. Yeah. To get that money back.
I think I need to cut in on that moment, because this is one of the things that was discussed in my LinkedIn post yesterday when I announced the episode. It was which blew up quite fast, actually. And one of the questions was like, okay, the idea is that I hand over my products to you as a service provider, and you deal with the marketplace business for me, or at least on some marketplaces. Maybe I'm doing Amazon myself, as you said, but you do the rest. But still, how can I, as a brand, retain my strategic control? How can I actually tell you, okay, I want you to list my products on this marketplace, on that marketplace. I want you to take these prices and keep them. If I have no idea about these marketplaces, do I hand like my whole business over to you and say, okay, I just hope you're doing it fine? Or does the brand itself keep some kind of control over it? And how should they do it if they outsource everything or the knowledge to you?
Yeah. So about the control, it's more like that you have a channel engine, channelable trade byte software, but you have a guy who's operating it. That's us. Or a Plenty Markets. That's us. So the control is kept by telling us what you want to do. If you want new pictures, we upload new pictures. If you have new videos, we upload new videos. If you tell us to not sell for the retail price, we will not sell for the retail price. If you tell us to sell something for €1, because we get a commission, we get a platform fee, we sell it for €1. If you say list it for €1 million, we will list it for €1 million. So that's the 100% control that you keep.
But how do I know how to tell you this if I don't have the knowledge in my house myself?
Well, you mean the knowledge about the pictures, or?
Yeah, how do I know if you say that you do what I tell you as a brand? Yeah, okay, but I have to have enough knowledge inside my own team, inside my own company, to give the right orders. Can I? Don't I? So what if I can't just hand everything over to you and say, okay, just manage it for you, don't bother me, like send me a report once a year and I don't want to hear anything about this. So this is not working, is it?
No, you have to still, and that's the thing. What I like from the brand perspective or seller perspective, you are still in the driving seat. So, but you don't have to fulfill everything. That's the main part. If I remember, when I worked I worked for a fashion company in Austria, and I was online wholesale manager, and then there was like, we got the budget cut, and now let's start on marketplace business. And I was like, okay, great. I'm looking forward to this. And then I thought like, okay, my fulfillment center is in Hungary. So I went to my logistic in-house guy, and I was like, hey, can we start with marketplace business? And then he was like, well, no, we cannot even handle returns quite well. Come back in 1.5 years. And then I was like, great. and then I walked to my IT and I was like, can we integrate like middlewares and like connect them with logistics, la la. And they were like, no, we don't have capacity. And I was like, shit. Yeah. And I was a one-woman show, and I had no team. And I was like dealing with the global online sales business. And I was like, okay, I need support in there. And that was the point where I need to decide to start with a full service partner, whether marketplace as a service partner, specialized on fashion back then, but that was a good entry because it was easy to add up with like different marketplaces. You don't need contracts with like every marketplace itself. You can say like, okay, we have one contract with this full service partner, and they already have contracts to the marketplaces I want to go to. That's the point. But what's interesting for me, Henning, is also, I mean, we're now talking about like, oh, this is like so great, and like they do everything for us. And but what's the I mean, you have to pay the service, right? And there's often the critical point of view is like, how profitable is this business? Or let me ask the other way around, is like, for what products is it possible, and what products are maybe, or if you have products even in do-it-yourself, right? Below, I don't know, average sales price of XYZ and return rate or whatever. When it's like, what is like a brand where you would say, okay, this is a great fit, this is profitable, this is really good in terms of numbers?
Yeah, in terms of numbers, so what we charge for our service is something between 5 and 10%. That's what we fee, and
based on
the price that's sold on the marketplace. It's Bruttopreis. It's
okay,
for
the gross
price.
sales.
Just like Amazon fees the 15% or the gross sales
including
price.
Shipping as well.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
Shipping
is excluded.
Okay.
So we fee something between. We actually fee something between 3 and 12%, but normally it's between 5 and 10%. But we have even companies that pay 3% because the
volume,
the average order value is something like 3,000-4,000 euro. Then it's also a lot of it's not a lot of money for them, 3%, but it's a lot of money for us to do the service for 3% for 120 euro, 150 euro one order.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win here. But that's what we fee. And then you have, of course, the Amazon fee, which is something between 7 and 15%. But that the seller would have paid that anyway. That's not our cost. And then you have logistic cost. And we have better rates than most of the sellers. And what we also have is a model. It's the FBA model, but then for all marketplaces we have. So we have fulfillment by Cdiscount, we have fulfillment by Kaufland, we have fulfillment by CDON, we have fulfillment by Bol in Holland. So every marketplace that has a fulfillment solution, we have that. And what we often do is we put the fast movers. So we have a complex logistic model here as well. So we put the fast movers, we put them in the marketplace stock, and then the medium movers, we put them either it's a drop shipping from the client, or we put them in our central warehouse in Aachen. So we have a warehouse in Aachen. I don't know what the English name is, but it's near the German-Dutch border. So you have Holland one day, Germany one day, France one day, Belgium one day. And we have pretty good shipping rates there. And the best thing is if you have the slow movers shipped to the warehouse at the day that we sold them by the seller to the warehouse. We repack them and then we reship them. Then we have the medium movers in our central warehouse in Aachen, and then we have the fast movers at the FBA. If you have a lot of SKU, but we have also a lot of customers who only have 100 SKU, and we put them at the marketplaces immediately, because then their products are immediately in the Prime program, where you get more money and you pay less shipping costs.
Sorry, I have to call Actor Alarm, because this is you sort of dodged the question here, Henning. Because
sorry.
Is there like a low rate where you say, okay, these are products that won't work with our with our idea?
Yes. So yeah, I didn't dodge that, but it's like this. Now let's say we fee 7% on an average.
Yeah.
Whatever. And that's my sales pitch anyway. So let's say we fee 7%. And we are doing €1 million for you on 20 marketplaces in Europe. Let's say France, Italy, whatever. Then you would pay us €70,000, a bit more, let's say €75,000. 20 marketplaces in Europe, 1 million. Can you have a steady team for €75,000, a team? I don't think so.
No.
So everyone, So everyone who says, this is not profitable, then look at your cost of your team, which is always more than 75. And if you would say, and that's why it makes sense, in my opinion, for anyone to go to a Connect on Quality, Limal or Gute Marken or to us, because you can't have a team. And even if you say, I have a guy that costs 60, well, he then costs 70. But let's say, but what if he's on holiday? What if he's gone? You have to do the customer service. You have to keep up to date with Hornbach. You have to keep up to date with Bol. And then maybe you say, but I'm only doing Amazon. So what about those other marketplaces? So you're missing out on chances. It's always cheaper. It's always cheaper to outsource it. The only reason that you want to do it yourself is when you maybe do, 50 million on marketplaces. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if you say, no, we want to have everything in-house, and that could be a strategical decision. Like at Otto, someone says, I want to outsource it, and the other one says no, and then you split ways. But it's more profitable because it's scalable. Because if you don't sell 1 million, you still pay us 7%. If you don't sell 1 million and you have the guys there in your office, you pay them 100K.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
I agree on that. And at the same time, if you are, if you have like a really, really big volume, like over, 5 to 10 million euro GMV in marketplace business, I would say sometimes it's then cheaper to go with your own team. And that's also what I don't like about full service partner. I am dependent on you. So for example, if I hand you over my whole marketplace business, then and I don't know, your team, got lost somehow, and so many people are leaving, as we also see it sometimes. Sometimes at some other full service providers, then I'm like, oh great, yeah, you're managing my whole full service business in marketplaces, but your team is gone, and I'm dependent on you. Like my whole stock is at your place. So this is also like strategic thought, which you definitely need to keep in mind, right?
True.
Yeah.
If we would have a client doing 10 million, we would go to 3%, and then it would be like 300,000. And then it would be, could you manage it yourself? And the other way could be, I don't think that there's anyone on the market doing exclusive contracts. So you could always do it parallel, work with an on quality and work with an Hey Connect. It's a make or buy thing.
It doesn't make sense. No.
It's a make or buy thing. Yeah. If you're not the guy that trusts other people while outsourcing, then it's hard for you. It's just like that. But if you trust people by outsourcing and you do the math, and maybe let's say up to 5 million that you do a year or whatever, then it makes totally sense. After that, you have to renegotiate, in my opinion. Or people ask me that. So if I'm doing 1 million on bol.com, can I do the business myself? I say, you can do the business all by yourself and leave us the other 49 marketplaces, and you do Bol or Amazon or whatever by yourself. So there's also a lot of hybrid business going on.
And Henning, in do it yourself, you also said you're doing home and garden, right? Do you also offer marketplaces B2C and also B2B marketplaces? Because I know this is in your industry a bit different than in, for example, fashion.
No, we don't have specialized B2B platforms. No, we're hooking up the whole, as I said, the whole,
marketplace.
Miracle networks at the moment, which are no, not specialized B2B. We also were or still on Home 24, and the other one, the other
X6
Möbel.
Lutz?
No, the other
X6
Möbel.
Lutz?
In Germany.
Wayfair? In Germany.
Wayfair. Which is a bit complex because they like
Wayfair
to...
is complex.
Yeah, they like to...
And expensive.
They like to sell and buy and sell.
Yeah.
They have
with wholesale prices.
Yeah, wholesale prices, which
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it's the reason why people go to us. And I quickly want to make a remark here. If we talk about Ingrid, because you asked that, what sellers should do on a marketplace. So we tell the seller what we need for a certain marketplace that he chooses, because he chooses the marketplaces by himself. And what we 99% of the times. The brands, they want to sell retail price. They want to sell retail price because one thing they need is margin, and they don't want to compete with their sellers anyway. So they go with the advice price, which may also often means that they don't sell so much because they offer retail prices. So if all the sellers are sold out, then we are going to sell. Or we have a better logistical model. Let's say one seller of them offers a product for 70 euros and we offer it for a retail price 79 euros. And he's out of stock, or we deliver within Prime, then we can sell it. But I think the important thing for sellers is to get the retail price. So dominate not only the product and how it looks, because a lot of sellers, they don't even own the EAN and the brand registry, which is a different problem. But they don't dominate the price, which is a logical thing from the past, of course. But they need margin, and that's why they need to dominate the price, and that's why they want a retail price. So that's why Wayfair doesn't work. So just a quick version there. Yeah.
What I like about also full service partners is that you take care about everything, and you can onboard much faster, right? If I, for example, want to onboard 5 new marketplaces and I'm starting completely new, then usually I have to onboard the middleware first, and then the first marketplace, and then as soon as it's finished, the second, and as soon as this finished, the third, and then it's 1.5 years later, and then you're maybe online with 5 marketplaces. This is if you do it by your own internally. This is my experience, and this is what I like about full service is you can say okay, let's start with Marketsupply, or hey, connect on quality whatsoever. And then you say okay, I want on those 5 marketplaces, let's sign our contract, let's do the add-on for the marketplace. But you can start from, I would not say you can stay at day 1 with 5 marketplaces. I wouldn't do that. Maybe I would to do 2 first and then 3 or something. But this is also much faster. And you said you have one stock pool, right? So you have one stock, X marketplaces, fulfillments who are there added on. So you have no spreaded stock, which is also very good for your availability. And you said you have do-it-yourself categories, home and garden. I mean, these products are sometimes a bit bigger. Do you also have products who are and more heavy? Do you also offer 2-man handling for logistics?
Yes. We offer that. Yeah. We have dog pools, which are really big. So also like that, and other garden stuff. So we're also selling pergolas. I don't know if that's the right word in German. Yeah, stuff like that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As our time is running out soon, I'd like to go back to my initial questions about marriage and divorce before we finish. So how do I find out first if a marketplace as a service provider is a good fit for me, if we match? So what are the main criteria here in choosing a service provider?
Well, I don't know how the others handle it, because I don't want to have a big Marketsupply show here. I don't know how the other handle it. So what we have is a 3 months contract period per marketplace. So you can choose one marketplace. Let's say you are a German seller and you say, let's try bol.com in Holland. So you pay with us, you pay a setup fee of 800 euro one time, 200 euro per marketplace. So the setup is 1,000. And I think that's with the other guys as well. Let's say up to 5,000 SKUs, something like that. And then we have a model where we fee 99 euros a month per marketplace. So you pay 3 months, 99 euros. So if you don't sell anything on that marketplace, your investment would be 1,300 euros, and you can leave us after 3 months. And I think the other ones also, maybe they have a 12 months contract with different costs. But what we did is build something really flexible. So we said 3 months because we don't want people doing 1 month and then saying, this is not working. And then we say, okay, let's try 3 months. So we have a 3 months contract period. But after 3 months, you can change or quit the whole service.
So you're basically saying, let's have an affair first before we marry.
Yes. Ingrid, do you have to tell something to your husband, or do I have to bring the bad news?
Like, okay, let's just try it out and see if we fit or not.
Yeah, it's just like that.
But it's for the more conservative people out there.
Yeah.
I mean, normally people look at your other service provider and they think, okay, this might be a match or not. But how do they decide that? I had a comment yesterday saying that he looked at the marketplaces that at the moment you serve, for example, and he said that I wasn't too impressed by their collection of marketplaces. So maybe this is not a fit. Is this a good starting point to say, okay, I just look at the services, I look at the marketplaces that this particular service provider has already connected, or what else do I look at as a brand?
Well, it's how you see it, Ingrid, because if you look at the whole program, then it's of course a lot of eBay and a lot of Amazon, and then you say, well, I'm not impressed by this. Now let's say that guy sells on 4 marketplaces, 5 marketplaces. And then you could look at our business model saying it doesn't impress me, but managing 60 marketplaces, it's a hell of a business, and it's impressing. And you can look at that every day where we do it with the guys. So it is impressive because some people they can't even handle 2 or 3 marketplaces now. But that's not.
I
our
think what he
selling
meant
point.
was more like, these are not the marketplaces that I want to sell on. So this is not the stuff that I'm looking for.
Yeah. Could be. But then if you look at the marketplaces business in Europe, apart from fashion marketplace, there is not a lot more. There's not a lot more, and there is in the Miracle Network there is more. But if you look at home and garden, there's nothing more to add than we have. But the selling point here is not that we can offer everything. The selling point here is that we have the marketplaces that you want. And maybe you're doing Amazon and Bol and whatever yourself, and this is of course a use case. But you want to sell on Fnac or on Leroy Merlin in France or in Spain or in Italy, then you can use us, and you don't have to do it yourself. So it's maybe not always seeing the big picture. It's seeing, hey, they have a marketplace that I want to test, but I don't want to buy the connection at TradeByte or wherever, or at Plenty or General Engine. But I just want to test it, and I give them 50 SKU, and they will try their best with the retail price or not the retail price. So it's also maybe not seeing, just like I said, not always seeing the big picture, but just the marketplace that you always wanted to test. Let's say a CDON in Sweden, which is not so big because the Nordics are not such a marketplaces. It's not such a marketplaces countries. But let's say you want to test Sweden. So you can test it 3 months with us or with any other players if they also offer a CDON or whatever, or an Allegro that we just heard, So it offers a really quick entry within days. Within days on that marketplace. And from that perspective, it's a gap selling thing. You don't have it, we have it, you can test it quickly. Yeah.
Okay, one last question, Henning. What I always like to do when I think about new service providers, I ask the clients who are already working with you, who are clients where you would say we are working quite well together.
Yeah, we work in that atmosphere. We're working with a company called Schellenberg, and all those people who are in the Baumarkt, they know it. We worked with GAH Alberts. We're also working for Bama, which has shoe inlays. We're working with Sorara, which is a garden brand.
Okay. That's
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Good to hear.
Brilliant, which are lights, mustering. Everyone knows them from the furniture. Yeah. Burner, kitchen stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a
But also-
good variation.
Yes. Also, maybe I forgot the most important one. It's KVB and Einhell, which all football fans know. So.
Yeah, Einhell was also on our podcast a few episodes ago.
I guess they are one of your customers who are doing Amazon themselves and handed over other companies to you.
Sorry, was that a question?
Yeah, which you might not be able to answer, but
yes.
Just my 5 cents.
I don't know the exact specifics of that, but they are doing a lot of stuff themselves.
Yeah.
And some marketplaces. That's what I just said. What I just mentioned. It's not doing everything by yourself because you choose your marketplaces.
Yes. Right.
Great.
Okay, so that was intense, I guess. Lots of information in this short hour. I guess choosing the right service provider is definitely a game changer for the marketplace business. So, but as we learned today, you can have an affair first and see if it works or not. So I hope we provided a little bit of useful information for your decision there. Thanks, Henning, for the transparency and honesty. And thanks to Marketsupply for sponsoring this episode, of course. Yeah,
a big thank you from me as well. And if you, dear listener, now have the feeling that Marketsupply might be the right match for you, then contact Henning and say the magic words Marketplace Universe to get a free onboarding.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right. And if you like listening to us today, you could make us very happy by following us and rating our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you are listening to us at the moment. And of course, by tuning in again next time. Next week's episode is in German. We talk about entering the US market via Amazon with a truly fascinating case study.
Yeah, and in 2 weeks' time, you can listen to the two of us talking in English about the European marketplace landscape for fashion, which is my topic. I'm the guest.
Yes.
And yeah, it's high time I updated my marketplace quadrant. So yeah.
Yeah, which is going to be a lot clearer and, thinner than last year.
Looking forward.
All right. So thank you very much. And
Thank you, Henning.
hear you
And
next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You listen to Let's Talk Marketplace.
The Marketplace podcast with Ingrid and Valerie Dichtel.